part of me still doesn't comprehend that this is Dennis Quaid's son. I mean, you can see it, right? They look similar, but it's just weird to think about regardless. Like father, like son. What is up, Flick fans? Welcome back to my channel. So excited to bring you guys this review today. This is my full, non-spoiler review for Season 2 of The Boys. I have watched all 8 episodes, even though they will not be releasing at once. It's going to be episodes 1 through 3, and then episode by episode for the next month and a half. So if you guys are looking forward to the show, please let me know in the comments down below. Thank you to Amazon Prime for sending me this season. Super excited to review it, and we'll go into more detail as the episodes drop, but no spoilers. Okay. So the boys in Season 2 are on the run from the law, being hunted by Supes and desperately trying to regroup and fight back against Vought. So like I said earlier, this is a show that I have to cover episode by episode because there's just so much within this season. If you are a fan of Season 1, and obviously if you're watching this review, you probably are, this is one of those shows that not only grows and adapts to the landscape that it's trying to show us, but it also evolves the majority of the characters here. Now, I won't say which season I like best yet, but I will say that this season gives us way more character development, and it makes sense because Season 1 we're starting off, we're learning who these characters are, but this season we are off and running with not only the crazy intense action scenes, not only the drama between our characters, but learning more about who they are as individuals and why they feel the way that they feel. And I thought that was established so well in Season 1, taking that, running with it in Season 2. Of course, we have Huey, Mother's Milk, Frenchie, Kamiko, and they're trying to adjust to how life is now without Butcher, because in the first episode, and we saw that in the season finale last season, Butcher is nowhere to be found. Now, clearly, he will make his presence known later on in the season, but how are things going to play out, and what is his mission compared to the group's mission, and how has the group grown and became more of a unit without him? Now, on the other side, we have 2 major storylines happening here. On the other side, we have Starlight, who is just kind of figuring her way out because she's in the midst of the 7, and she's clearly got a few enemies within that building. You have A-Train, you have Homelander, both who have a suspicion that Starlight is not being who she says she is because of her relationship with Huey. By the way, her relationship with Huey this season is everything I wanted it to be and more. It is a strained relationship, absolutely, but I'm glad they kind of resolved certain things a bit quicker than maybe I expected and moved into a different kind of relationship in this season. It's not the same thing. That's what I'll say about Season 2 as a whole. It's a completely different kind of story. We're dealing with completely different problems here. Butcher is a very different character this season because of his experiences that have happened to him as of late. He's growing, maybe not growing in the best way, but he's growing into something different entirely, and the emotions that he's dealing with are really intense. One thing I will say is the group this season is kind of looking at Huey as a leader of sorts without Butcher. So eventually, when we do get Butcher back, we see that there's a bit of a conflict at the top there. Huey is a much different person now. He has grown. Hey, I'm not the little wimpy dude I was in the first season. I can handle myself, and he really does. I like seeing Huey stand up for himself, even though there is a point in like episode 3 or 4 where he's just like, I don't know if I can go on. I don't know if I can keep doing this. Oh my gosh, so many characters to talk about. Homelander. Let's talk about Homelander really quick and his strange obsessions going into this season. One particular character that is no longer with us, that he's still dealing with the fallout of. And a couple things happen the first few episodes. You're like, wait a second. And then you realize what it actually is. So that was interesting. Homelander is even more pissed than he's ever been. He is just full of rage. Everything you imagine the Injustice version of Superman is within this character. But he's kind of targeting his aggression in different directions, whether it is a Queen Maeve kind of holding her hostage in this interesting kind of way this season, a Starlight, every time he sees her, he's basically threatening her because of what he knows or begins to understand about her. And of course, our new character in Stormfront, the newest member of the Seven, who comes in, and there's a bit of speculation about why she's here in the first place. And don't get me wrong, her character is funny. But it turns out that her character is actually much more than you anticipate. So as we learn more about her, what her goal and mission is, that extremely strained relationship with Homelander, a lot of aggression towards her because of how her fan base is interacting with her presence and kind of changing up the whole dynamic of the group. Starlight trying to develop a bit of a relationship with her. Queen Maeve feeling like she doesn't have a place much anymore because of her feelings towards someone else. So that entire dynamic is beginning to shift, and because of that, we just have a completely different kind of story within the Seven. Now, one relationship I loved last season was Frenchie and Kimiko, and how she began to finally feel accepted once she got done ripping people's heads off. That's a relationship that is a focus of this season. A character comes in, switches things up just a little bit, and it's very different. And that's where I continue to go with this review, is all of the relationships and how people's dynamics are changing within this season. And in the midst of all of those crazy things, and the deep, I've not even talked about the deep. Oh my goodness, the existential crisis that is happening with the Deep. One of my favorite aspects of season 1, because you imagine it being Aquaman and like this hilarious version of Aquaman that can't find his place in the world. And this season, he really can't find his place. So he finds someone or a couple of people who begin to show him his path, even though it's not necessarily a path that he's a huge fan of. So his storyline was hilarious, but within these relationships comes the incredible action. Stormfront brings some really cool, think Storm, X-Men style powers to this season. Of course, some of the members of the Seven, they don't care about collateral damage, so they're just going to blow stuff up and do some things. But eventually, you guys are going to get caught, so be careful. And also talking about Homelander standing up to people, it's hard to stand up to Giancarlo Esposito. It really is, but he does it. And Giancarlo Esposito stands up right back to Homelander. So happy he is in this show. I mean, Breaking Bad, The Mandalorian, and now The Boys. Not the main villain necessarily, but this guy who's going to make his presence known for sure and tell the public what they want to hear, even when they begin to hear some things that aren't necessarily good for Giancarlo Esposito's character. So many incredible aspects to this season. I can't wait for you guys to find out some of these reveals, how these relationships play out, diving deeper into Butcher's story and seeing how that goes, and of course, the setup for Season 3. And all I will say is, oh my goodness, those final few episodes, as soon as you guys get to see them, we'll talk about it in separate videos when it drops, but in terms of criticisms, I do think there were certain characters kind of left in the dust when it came to development. They really chose who they were going to focus on, and that's fine. I just would have liked maybe a bit more. Also, a few things, and I know the show is very satirical, and the humor is definitely there this season, but some things that are a bit too cheesy for me. There's one moment where one of our characters is singing on stage, and it's clear lip syncing. I didn't love the technical aspects of that scene, and there's just moments like that sprinkled and planted throughout the season, and it may go overboard for some, but again, I like this satirical type of show, especially being a satire of one of my favorite things, and that is superheroes. So September 4th, Season 2. Episodes 1 through 3. Before I give you guys my score, thank you so much for watching. If you liked this review and you'd like to see more on my channel, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. If you are a fan of The Boys, as for my score, I'm going a 90% for The Boys Season 2. Had a blast. Cannot wait for Season 3. I'm salivating. This is Amazon Prime's show. If you guys would like to see more, again, let me know. We will dive into spoilers in separate videos. But as of now, huge fan of Season 2. Maybe not as much as Season 1. I still slightly prefer just the magic of Season 1, but both incredible seasons. Okay, I'm going to go hide in fear because Homelander's scary.